there's a way to make an entrance.
This is my destiny.
It was now a conspiracy of witches.
Download Veely today.
The events in this program are inspired by a true story. Names, dates, and details have been changed. Viewer discretion is advised. On this episode of Bizarre Murders, a dyed-in-the-wool romantic who's been doing the online dating thing for a while comes across a profile of an attractive young woman. They start up a flirtation. Her emails and texts are funny and smart. He starts to wonder if maybe he's finally met the one. But the encounter he has is far from romantic. Meet Bill, salesperson by day and aspiring filmmaker by night. Handsome, charming, charismatic. He moves from Florida back to his hometown of Saskatoon, Canada, where he meets his future wife online. She's drawn to his fanciful personality and love of dressing up as fictional characters. Bill also has a dark side. And since a young age, he's identified with the bad guys rather than the heroes of anything he's watched or read. When he discovers a television show about a blood spatter specialist who also happens to be a serial killer, he's finally found someone he can truly identify with.
During the 25 years I worked for the FBI, I came across a lot of real mopes. One thing that always stood out for me was none of them ever thought of themselves as villains. Think about that. No, they were always the hero in their own story. It was the world that didn't understand.
His obsession with the TV show grows. He binge watches the series, reads all the books. He even starts a show-themed online page with the status update which says, Bill has way too much in common with his hero. Then, one day, he decides to take his TV show obsession to the next level. He begins to blur fantasy and reality in a chilling way. Bill rents a garage in the suburbs of Saskatoon, which he turns into a kill room, just like the one his TV hero has, including plastic-covered walls to catch the blood splatter and the table on which to execute his victims.
By the time we become adults, most of us have seen hundreds of simulated murders on TV. Most people think, well, that's entertaining, and move on with their lives. But every once in a while, some deranged psycho comes along and says, wow, I think I'd like to try that.
This isn't how my life was supposed to end.
Well, this is how it's gonna end.
And cut. Great job, guys. Okay. Yeah, that was good. That was good.
Bill makes a short film called The Kill Room. It's about a screenwriter who lures people to his garage to kill them.
Okay, I want it. You afraid?
It's part of his research for a feature-length
Okay, cool.
movie
We're gonna roll on another take and we'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Some say life imitates art, some say art imitates life. In this case, it's life imitating TV, and not necessarily all that well.
Soon, Bill finds mere reenactment isn't enough. As his marriage starts to fall apart, his obsession with murder grows. And the more research he does, the more he realizes he embodies many of the traits that serial killers have: emotional detachment, selfishness, and a tendency to lie. He sees a psychiatrist who says he's fine, perfectly normal.
You are such a fool.
At this point, he decides to turn his fantasy into reality and become a real serial killer, just like his television hero.
So here's a man hell-bent on becoming a serial killer, and he goes to a trained professional who declares him normal. It's an odd word to use, unless by normal you mean capable of luring somebody to his garage, then killing and dismembering them. By that standard, oh yeah, Bill is completely normal.
Bill is very familiar with online dating sites. It's how he met his wife. He browses a popular site posing as Diane, a smart and beautiful young woman. It's a bait he hopes will attract some lonely single fish. And it's not long before he gets his first nibble. Meet Rick, 33 years old, recently separated, new in town, lonely. When he sees the online profile of Diane and finds out she wants to meet, he can't believe his luck. He agrees to meet Diane at an address that turns out to be a garage. A little odd, perhaps, but he figures it'll be fine.
Just a little word to the wise. I'm not even saying this as former law enforcement, just as a person in the world with a bit of common sense. If you answer an online dating ad, make sure you meet at a public place where there are lots of people. Do not, listen to me, do not agree to go to a garage in the middle of nowhere.
Hello? Diane?
And if you do that, and if the garage door is open, and if it's dark inside, don't just think, it should be fine, and go in. Use some survival instinct.
Diane? Diane? Diane, are you here?
You are such a fool.
Rick's not going to give up without a fight, but the effects of the stun gun have kicked in, and he finds his legs aren't working properly. Then, Bill pulls a gun.
But it was a toy gun, just a prop. Why Bill would pull a toy gun on someone he plans to kill is anybody's guess. Maybe Bill was hoping to scare Rick into submission so he could finish him off. But he underestimated how powerful the instinct to survive can be. As they say in the squad bay, rookies make rookie mistakes, and Bill was definitely a rookie when it came to killing.
Rick manages to get outside the garage. Suddenly, he finds use of his legs. He makes a run for it. Rick knows if he winds up back in Bill's kill room, he's done for. And miracle of miracles, he sees a young woman out for a walk. Rick survives an attempt on his life, but he never reports it to the police. He simply vanishes. The woman who found him reports the incident, but the police don't take the complaint seriously and never follow up.
It might be hard for some people to understand why Rick would not go to the police after being attacked in a garage by a man in a hockey mask. But never underestimate the power of one of the most primal human emotions. You know the other ones, greed, fear, and lust. But in Rick's case, the big one was shame. He was just too embarrassed to admit how badly he'd been duped.
Bill botches his first attempt at becoming a serial killer in the style of his TV hero, but he isn't going to let that stop him. He begins a computer diary called Mass Murder Files, which describes his crimes in semi-fictional fashion, changing names and some details, but mostly sticking to the facts. A diary that includes the words, "This is a story of my progress into becoming a serial killer."
Why would Bill detail his crimes in a diary on his computer? Because he's arrogant. It's hubris. It's that pride before the fall. So many of these criminals think they're so smart, so much smarter than police. and they're just not.
Just 1 week after his first murder attempt failed, would-be serial killer Bill is back on his computer creating another bogus online profile. And he soon finds his second would-be victim, a man named Fred. Friends described Fred as caring and trusting, with a great work ethic and sense of humor.
Trust is a wonderful human quality, but it's overused. In actuality, it needs to be cultivated over time. People are not always who they say they are, and that's never been more true than when you're talking about online communication. Sometimes it pays to be a little suspicious. Like, say, when an online date suggests you meet in a garage in the middle of nowhere.
This time, though, Bill has changed his modus operandi. He tried to taser his first intended victim, Rick, with a stun gun, but Rick managed to get away. This time, he's using a lead pipe with hockey tape around the handle, so his grip doesn't slip when he swings it.
Julie? Julie, are you there? Julie?
This time, he's successful. Fred will not be walking out of that garage.
So Bill failed the first time around, and that person continued to live. And now he succeeded. Congratulations, Bill.
Bill, the wannabe serial killer, now has his first victim. All he has to do is cut up the body, which he does using a hunter's game processing kit, and then dispose of it. After a while, Bill, realizing Fred's friends might wonder why he's suddenly gone silent, decides to reach out to them. Using contacts he finds on Fred's phone, he sends them an email blast. Bill writes that he's met an amazing woman named Julie, and that they've taken off to Costa Rica for a long romantic vacation. The only problem, it sounds nothing like Fred. Roger, who has known Fred for 10 years, becomes especially concerned.
Hey Fred, it's Roger here. I just got your text message. If you can give me a call back, that'd be great, mate. Anytime, thanks.
The two of them are in almost constant communication, and the guy he knows would never leave town without telling him.
Yes, hello. Can I speak to a detective, please?
He reports his concerns to authorities. Frustrated that police won't look into Fred's disappearance, Roger decides to take matters into his own hands.
Hey, Fred? Fred, you home, bud?
He breaks into Fred's house to see if he can figure out on his own what happened to his friend. Inside Fred's apartment, Roger finds his suitcase and passport.
Hello, yes, I'd like to speak to a detective, please.
Who am I speaking to?
Reported my friend Fred missing. I see his passport here. He couldn't have gone on vacation.
Can you tell me a little bit more?
This time, they take him seriously.
You don't have to be Sherlock Holmes to deduce that the nice long vacation in Costa Rica is a complete crock. Well, it's a complete crock. Now we finally see someone using their instincts and not just trusting everything is the way it appears. It's too late for poor Fred, of course.
Hey, Detective Floyd. Thanks for seeing me on short notice.
When's the last time you actually spoke to Fred?
Just the other day. He was really excited.
Detective Floyd launches a formal
You ever had any
investigation into
arguments
Fred's
or
disappearance.
He just told me he met some woman online. He sent me this the other day before he was going on his date.
He learns that on the night Fred went missing, he sent Roger a text message saying, "If something happens to me, here's the address of where I'm meeting my date."
And do you know this woman he was going on a date with?
No, I never saw her or met her.
So something did ping on Fred's radar about going to meet a date at a garage in the middle of nowhere. Clearly, he heard a little voice saying, there's something odd about this. It's just too bad the little voice didn't speak a little louder.
Detective Floyd contacts the owner of the garage that was Fred's last destination, Bill. Even though police don't have a warrant, Bill is only too happy to show them around. He even volunteers to come into the station for questioning.
Mind if I record this, or?
No, go ahead. Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks. The reason I brought you in, we actually received a complaint last week, a possible assault in the area of your rental facility. Just wondering if you saw anything suspicious.
No. Just making movies, man. That's what I do there.
Oh, you're a filmmaker?
I'm a filmmaker, yes.
In these types of investigations, with very little to go on, a good investigator has to analyze all the little details. You study the suspect's body language, his demeanor, and you have to remember, this is the same guy who fooled a psychologist and a therapist into thinking he was normal.
What type of movies do you make?
Oh, it's working on a really good script right now.
Yeah? Tell me about it.
It's kind of a personal project. I don't really want to give away the plot.
For now, at least,
right.
Bill
You have a good
is
day.
eliminated
Thanks.
as a suspect. But then Bill makes a crucial mistake. He brazenly volunteers some unnecessary information to the police.
Hey, it's Bill from the garage. I forgot to mention something. Yeah, the other week, some guy was in a hurry to sell his car. He sold it to me for about $40, saying he was getting hitched by some rich girl who was going to be taking care of him. I just thought I'd mention that to you.
Can you believe the story this guy is selling? I mean, we're supposed to believe this? If this doesn't make you look real hard at old Bill, I don't know what will. And did I mention he volunteered all of this? Honestly, remember what I said about pride before a fall?
Now the police are on high alert. They issue a TV appeal for the victim of the failed murder attempt to come forward. It's been several weeks since the attack.
Something
Now,
like this is it.
Rick
or
is
this
finally
is the end. I
ready
don't
to
know.
tell his story.
All the walls were covered in like plastic. This guy comes out and he's wearing this like a hockey mask. He hit me right with the stun gun. I was able to just boot him off. Rolled right under the door and got up and I just ran.
That was over 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Why the delay in coming to the police?
I don't know. I was just shocked about it. To be honest with you, I was a little embarrassed. I mean, it seems so obvious now. You know, I'd never even talked to this woman on the phone.
It's enough to get a warrant to search Bill's car and his home. On Bill's laptop, police find a document named Mass Murder Files, a blow-by-blow account of Bill's crimes, right down to every last detail.
Of course, he deleted the file before investigators show up. But when will people realize that nothing is ever truly deleted? Anyway, I'm glad criminals haven't figured this out. I mean, don't tell them, because it's one of our handiest tools. Retrieving so-called deleted files is easy. Just get a police nerd in front of it, we recruit them, and a couple of keystrokes later, boom, we got everything we need.
He describes how he built a kill room with plastic on the walls, the failed attempt on Rick's life, the murder and dismemberment of Fred.
The circumstantial evidence piles up, but without forensics, without DNA, without a body, you got diddly. And that's what these guys had, diddly squat.
Police set out to build a case against Bill. They search his garage and find movie props including handcuffs, knives, and a movie script, which reads as an homage to his television serial killer hero called The Kill Room. Then they find evidence even more damning. Forensics technicians use luminol to detect over 200 blood stains on the floor. They also find a pair of bloody jeans, and a chilling to-do list that contains the item tidy kill room.
You gotta love that. Typical guy, right? Writing himself notes all along. Tidy kill room. But he doesn't do a good enough job. Don't tell anybody, but they'll never do a good enough job. We get everything. And then he forgets to do his laundry. Oh, and here's another potential note to self. While you're tidying up the kill room, maybe throw out the note that says, tidy the kill room.
It's enough to get him arrested and charged with first-degree murder. He never confesses to the crime, but never denies it either. Investigators know he did it, but they still don't have a body. Eventually, after several months in prison, Bill tells them at least where to find Fred's body. In the end, he admits to the murder, but maintains that he killed Fred in self-defense as part of a publicity stunt for his movies.
If you're going to try and pull off a nose-stretcher story like that, maybe don't try to cover it up afterwards. I mean, I'm no Hollywood mogul, but as I understand it, the concept of a publicity stunt is that you actually make it public. The moral of the story? It's important to know the difference between fact and fiction. Bill idolized a fictional TV character and lured men into his kill room with the fiction of meeting their dream date. But the fact is, he committed a heinous crime and was put away for those crimes. And those facts, like all facts, speak pretty loudly for themselves.